Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video we're going to be beginning the process of actually taking the messages that are being stored inside of our messages list inside of our chat page provider and then displaying them inside of our chat page. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how we can do it. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that we have the chat page provider variable created and that it's being assigned a value for the type chat page provider inside of our build function, which we did in the previous videos. With that, we'll also make sure that we have the listen to message function being called, and those are pretty much all the steps that we need to do. And just as a side note, the listen to message function is going to be called inside of the constructor for the chat page provider. So now that we have access to the data, the next thing that we have to do is that we need to render it. For that, we have to create a function which is going to be responsible for rendering our list view. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new function inside of my chat page state class, and it'll return a widget, and I'll call this messages list view. With this, I'll open the parentheses, and it's not going to take any parameters, and I'm going to add the curly brackets. So what we're going to do is that we're going to be focusing towards showing the messages, and this function is going to be rendering those. So first things first, we have to make sure that we have some messages. So I'm going to do if our underscore page provider dot messages are not equal to null, then we can do some certain process. But if they are null, then what we're going to do is that we are going to return a center widget. So I'm going to do return a center widget. And this center widget is going to have a child, which is going to be a circular progress indicator. And then this circular progress indicator is going to have a color value, which would be colors.white. With this, I'll add a semicolon and I'll do Alt-Shift-F, Command, Save. That's pretty much all we had to do for the else clause. Now what we're going to do inside of our if statement is that we're going to, if the messages are not null, are going to check how many messages we graph. So if the page provider.messages dot length is not equal to 0, then we can be sure that there are some messages that we can render. If the messages list doesn't have any messages within it, then I'm going to return a align widget, which is going to align whatever child we put inside of it in the middle of the widget that its parent is. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that the alignment is going to be alignment dot center, and then the actual child is going to be a text widget, and the text widget will tell us that be the first to say hi. So basically, if our message's length is 0, that means nobody has sent a message up till now. So we'll just say that, hey, be the first one to say hi. And then with this, I'll add a semicolon 2 at the end. And then I'll also define some styling for the text. And I'm going to say that the text is going to be text style and then color, and then colors.white. And then Alt-Shift-F, Command, Save. With this done, we are now finally ready to tackle the actual process of rendering the messages. So what are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to be rendering a container. So I'm going to return a container. And this container is going to have some properties. The first is going to be the height of the container. The height is going to be the device's height times 0.74. And then inside of this container is where our list view is going to exist. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say the child for this container is going to be a list view, and then I'll use the builder function. And then I'm going to say that the item builder is going to take in a build context underscore context, and then it's going to take an index as well of type int called underscore index, and then I'll open the function call. But before I define the item builder, I'll say that the item count is going to be our underscore messages, or just the underscore page provider dot messages dot length. So I'll just copy this line and paste it here, saying that this is the count of the actual messages. And then the item builder is going to be this specific item builder. And inside of here, what we'll do is that we'll just return a container, which will have a child, which will be a text widget, the value of which is going to be our message page provider. So I'm going to do our page provider. So that's going to be underscore page provider dot messages dot, and then from there we'll access the specific index message, and then we'll just show the content for it for now. And then I'll add a semicolon here as well. And do not forget to add a exclamation mark here for the messages, Alt-Shift-F Command save. With this, the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the style for our actual text as well. And for now, I'll just say that the text style is going to be color and then colors.white. And that's pretty much all we had to do. And I'm getting an error here, and that's because we didn't have a parentheses to do Alt-Shift-F Command save. Now, if I restart my application and I click on one of the chats, we are not seeing anything. And the reason for that is because our messages list view is not being called. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add our messages list view inside of our children's list after our top bar. So a comma here and then add the messages list view and Alt-Shift-F Command save. As soon as I do this, you're going to see that our first message appears here. Hi. Well, it's not styled properly, but it's the message that we had inside of this chat application. So now with this done, what I'm going to do is that I'll restart the application again and I'll wait for the application to load, show me the chats. And now if I click on one of the chat, it's showing me the actual chat message for that. If I go back, which is not working, so I'll just slide back. I go to the other one, it's showing me the other message. So with that, we've implemented showing the actual messages inside of the list view. And now in the next video, we're going to be working towards creating the custom widget, which is going to display our messages in that beautiful bubble format, which is the essence of our actual chat pages UI. So with that, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.